everyone, this is Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. So a few weeks ago, I posted a tutorial on how to color skin tones specifically and how to color these characters that we have so many of that people just love in just a few minutes with a few watercolor markers. So I'm going to expand on that video today. I've had so many requests for this, and I want to show you now how to change these characters' ethnicity. And so I'm going to show you how to do these different skin tones, different skin colors, how to create this beautiful warm Latino skin color and this beautiful chocolate brown African American. So I'm going to show you how to do that really quickly. It's the same technique. It only takes a few minutes, and you're going to really love doing this. So I'm using the stamp from the set, The Girlfriend Blend, These Girls Drinking Coffee. And I've started out by stamping it on the watercolor paper using the StazOn. So this is a solvent-based ink. So we want to be sure that we're using a solvent when we're stamping onto the watercolor paper so that we don't have the color bleed. We don't want any of these black lines to bleed with the color. So we want to make sure that we're using a solvent. I've stamped it on the watercolor paper. This is the Strathmore Cold Press, 140 pound, and I'm using the smooth side. The watercolor paper has two sides. It has a textured side and it has a smooth side. So we're stamping onto the smooth side. Okay, so let's get started. The first step is always the same. So we're going to take the fine tip of a black pen, it can be any black pen, and we want to make sure that these areas that should be dark are really dark. Sometimes when you're stamping on watercolor paper, even if it's the smooth side, there's a little texture to it and you may miss some of these lines. And this area in here is the most important part of the image. The eyes, the nose, this is the life of the character, and this is what we want to concentrate on most. We want to make sure that the eyes are really dark and the mouths, in here where the mouths should be really dark, we want to make sure that's really blackened in. So this can be any dark pen, even a black ballpoint is going to work. Okay, let's move on. So the next thing we're going to do is pick our colors. So this is the color that we start out with if the skin tone is Caucasian. So let's just do one of the girls that way. So we're going to put some color onto the palette. This is a number 30 Rosewood. And I'm going to start with the lightest skin tone up here. I'm going to add a little warmer color for that beautiful Latino skin, number 6 Brown. And then I'm going to add a chocolate brown. This is number 18 Dark Brown, but this can be any dark chocolate brown that you have. Just something that's a little cooler, so not a warm brown like this one, but a cooler color. And we're just going to put this right next to the other. And then we want a highlight for the lips and the cheeks. So we're just taking a little bit of red. This is a number 8 English red, so this will do just great. So we're going to dip our brush and start by adding the color. So let's start with the lightest one here, and I'm just going to take some of this color off the palette. Start down lower. This is really the best way to start, and bring your color up. It's sort of backwards of the way that you would normally color, but we want the lighter color to progress up. We want the darkest color to be down low. And remember, you can come under the hairline, that's fine, but you want to keep this area where the eyes and the nose, you want to keep that open, so no color. Even with the darker skin tones, we still want to follow that rule. Let's go on to her hands here. And this color just goes on so smooth, so easily when you're using a brush and a palette. So much easier than coloring direct to paper. That's why this technique is so quick. And when you need that card in a hurry, this is the way to do it. You can do it in just a few minutes. See, under here, this is all fine to add color, but under here where the eyes are, you want to leave that open. Let's make one more pass here. Just a little lower, so we're going to start under here. And we're going to do a little dark color as we come up. Okay, we're pretty good on her. So let's go on to the next one. And we're going to mix a little of this warm brown now into this flesh tone. And we're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to work our way up. Make sure you get enough water on your brush so that you can really blend this color. You want to feather this out when you get to the face, when you get to the eyes and the nose, so you don't have a white circle with dark color. And it's really, really easy to blend with water. Remember the tops of the arms? This is where the lightest color is because the sun is directly overhead, so the sun is shining down. So the tops of your images are always going to have a bit of a white line. Let's pick up a little more color now. Start down here and just work our way up. And we're just going to go darker and darker. This dries really quickly, so it's easy to add the color. And better to add it in layers than to try to get it all on at once. Remember to keep this area open. And as she's looking up anyway, she's looking up so that light would be coming directly down on her face, so all the more important that we keep that area open. Under here, and she's looking pretty good. Can go a little darker. This is up to you, especially if you're trying to match a character. You can go darker and darker depending on how dark their skin tone is. Okay, good on her. Let's go now to our little African American women here, and we're going to mix some of this chocolate brown now into this color. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start down lower. And we're going to kind of drag the color up. See the top of her shoulder? We want to leave a little white highlight up there. You can always go darker. So start with these areas that are lighter and gradually build the color. And you can do this all with one marker, which is just my favorite thing about it. It doesn't take a lot of pens or time. Just feather this color in. It's going to go lighter and lighter. Let's take some more here. See the top of her shoulder? I'll kind of leave a little highlight there. The top of her arm here. She's going to have a little highlight at the top. And then we're going to gradually work our way up. This paper can hold a lot of water, so it's better to be cautious and just add the color in layers. See, as we're coming up, we're just fading this color into the face area, this area where the eyes and the nose are. Let's pick up a little more color here, and we're going to work our way up. Dip your brush and pinch it off so that you don't get too much water. Same with this girl. We can just come back in here with more color. You can make this skin as dark as you want. You just want to be sure to do it in layers. Remember, the darkest area is going to be on the bottom. So when you're looking at something rounded like the arm, and you want to show that, you want to make sure that the darkest area is underneath, because remember, the light is coming from up above. Don't worry that there's light spots. Sometimes watercolor looks a little blotchy, but that's just the way that the color comes on. It's perfectly fine. That's what makes it look like a watercolor. It doesn't have that smooth look like a Copic marker would have. So we're just building this color. This is so fun to do. It's fun to see how many different skin tones you can do. There's so many colors of skin out there, and beautiful skin tones. And we can create all of that this way You can add a little warm brown in here and change the color completely. Let's get a little darker color under the hair. And these girls are looking pretty good. Okay, let's add the highlight now. So that would be the little cheeks. And we're just going to take a little bit of this color. A little bit of this red goes a long way. And again, you can add more. Always add more. We don't want them to have a clown-like look, so we don't want this pink to be too bright. And we're just going to use the same color on all these girls. There's this on here. So easy and fun. This is what is going to keep your image looking like a coloring book. And I get told this all the time. People spend so much time coloring, and after 30 minutes or 45 minutes, they're not happy with it. And it's because it looks flat most of the time. That's the problem, is that it looks flat. And that's because they're missing these little highlights. Okay, let's add some color now to the lips. And we can pick up more color so we can make this darker. I feel like these girls would have some bright lipstick on. And see how much darker the lips are from the cheek color? Even though it's the same marker, we've just picked up more ink, so less water. And let's go on to the hair now. We can use the same chocolate brown. And we're going to start under here. And remember the tops of the hair, and that applies to these girls too, should always have a white highlight up above, so you never want to color completely to the top. You always want to leave that white highlight. So start under and work your way up. Just follow the contour of the line. Just don't color all the way up. It's so important to do that. It will make your characters look like they have motion. It will make them way more animated and three-dimensional. See this girl too on the top of her head? You don't want any color up there. It's really hard to get into the habit of doing this, but you'll be so amazed what a difference this makes in your images. Just these little things make a huge difference. Okay, so we're going to come in a little lower now. And we're actually shading because the sun, remember the sun is directly overhead, it's 12 o'clock. And so as we come down, we're going to get darker and darker. And this too, you can make this color darker just by adding more layers. Let's add a little more color here to the palette. And add some color. See how dark we can get that? This is all with the same marker. It just adds so much contrast. And see how that highlight makes the heads look a little more rounded? Let's add a little more color to this girl. I always make my girls brunettes because I'm always in a hurry and it's the easiest color to pick up and do. But you can mix any hair color on your palette. And experiment. Try different things. It's so fun to color this way because you don't need a lot of markers. Okay, let's go on to the clothing. So I'm going to clean my brush out and I'm going to add some more color here. Something bright. This is the number 8 violet. And this is a number 20 magenta. So we're going to pick up some of this color. Keep it simple. I always say to keep it simple, just use a couple of colors. You don't need a lot. See the top of this hat? We want to make sure we include that highlight on there. So important. And this under here, under the bill of the hat, this is going to be darker. Let's add the same color now to her earrings. I always like to match because then I don't have to color as much. Same with this one. See the top? It's always good to leave a highlight. If you're not sure, just leave it anyway. Top of her bracelet, we want to leave that highlight on there. Let's pick another color. This is the magenta. See the top of this girl's shoulder? That's the top of the image, so we want to leave that highlight, so no color there. You will get into the habit of doing this, and you'll be so amazed at what a difference these little things make. And how much more three-dimensional your coloring is going to be. And you know, we have these people, we have a lot of people on our design team who love to color, and they're really, really good at it. They love their Copic markers. And I think that's awesome, especially if it's therapeutic for you. But when you need a card in 5 minutes, you can make one. And you can color these images so quickly. Let's add some color here. So it's just another option. Just another way to color. And I always like to add something of interest. If you look around what people are wearing, most people are wearing something with a pattern. It's kind of fun to do that. And you just do this with your brush. Just pick up a little more color. Let's get some color on this girl here. Just brush this on. The more water you add, the lighter the color. So you can always come in with a little more once that's dry. And I am a huge fan of leaving things white. I love to do that because, again, it's not as much to color. It's quick and easy. So I'm just picking a blue, a dark blue. This is 86 African Violet. I use this a lot. And I'm just going to pick up a little of this color. For things that are white, we want to just include a blue line, because things that are white are not uncolored. They always have a color, otherwise they're flat. And that's what we're trying to do, is avoid things that are flat. We want to add color to things so that they look three-dimensional. I would just leave this girl's shirt white. This one. And some white on here. That looks pretty good. And let me just show you the difference, because when we're coloring this, it's hard to, sometimes it's hard to visualize what this would have looked like before, but let me just show you how important this is, that you add these highlights on the tops of the heads, you leave the faces white. So I've colored the same image. So I've colored the same image here so that you could really see the difference. And you can see the skin tone. These characters look so much flatter because they're all one color. One color blends into the next image, and it looks like these girls are at the same distance from each other. No highlight on top of the head makes the image look flat and like a coloring book. This too, the faces are dull and not animated at all. And look at the difference in the mouths by not coloring in this dark area. They don't look three-dimensional at all. Everything looks flat, and these characters look like they have no personality. So it really, really makes a difference. And it's hard to kind of force yourself to leave these white areas. It seems extreme, but when you look at the difference, it makes a huge, huge difference to do that. Even the tops of the arms, see how flat this image is here. See the tops of this arm and how much difference that makes to get the image to look three-dimensional. So even though it looks extreme, with these white areas, when you look at the image all together, it looks way, way more three-dimensional. So let's go on from here. Let's just add one more thing. Let's add some background. And we can do that with any color. I'm taking some of this blue now, the same African Violet, and I'm just going to brush on some of this color. Remember, this is watercolor paper, so you can add a lot of color here. So just brush this on, surround this around the character, the image. Don't touch the colored part. You can touch the black line, but if you touch the brown in the hair or the skin tone, you're going to bleed that color right into the background. So we want to try to avoid that. This is a lot of water that we're using, and it'll just pull that color right into the image. So brush this on. This adds a lot of dimension too. Looks like there's a background behind these girls. They're at a coffee shop. And we're just pulling this color out. Don't worry about this part at all. Just use your brush and just get this color on. You can use a little darker color now and just sort of go underneath these cups. This will just give you the idea of a shadow. Just follow these lines across. Remember, when you're doing watercolor, it's a very loose image. And so it's the idea of things. I say that over and over again because there's no stress involved in this. If the shadow isn't perfect, it's okay. It's really okay. You're just giving the idea that they're sitting at a table. And there we have it. Our girls are colored. They look beautiful. You can always come back and add more to it. If you want to add more color to the skin, if you want to change the tone of the skin, you can always do that because you're using watercolor. I would sign this because this is your own work of art. And you've hand painted and hand created this image. Mount it on a card. So cute. And you're ready to go. Thanks so much for watching.